Marriage. Do you believe in marriage? Do you believe in the institution of marriage, the family, a traditional wife, a traditional marriage? What do we consider a traditional marriage? Well, my knowledge of the situation is where the man goes out and works and the mother stays home and raises the kids. And sometimes when I speak about that on social media, I'm called a misogynist. Someone said once that I needed to go back to the 13th century. So, can I see their point of view? Yes, I can, because if you've been raised up in this modern society where it's normal that all kids go to daycare, you would think I did have some backward thinking. But let's look at the facts here. You can ask any woman, do you think you can raise your kids better or a daycare worker who doesn't love your kids? Who's going to do the best job of raising your kids, you or the daycare worker? How many women do you think are going to say the daycare worker? But then they're going to come back with this. Well, I can raise them better, but we need 2 incomes so our children can have stuff. Well, they're not going to say stuff, but that's what it amounts to. No, you don't need 2 incomes. You need to downsize. You need to do without stuff. But we grow up in a society, a materialistic society, where that is so important to us. We're hammered every day with commercials, billboards, advertisements. More is better. If you just get this car, you'll feel good. If you eat this, you'll feel great. If you drink this, you'll feel good. It just goes on and on ad infinitum. And what is this result of this? A lot of unhappiness, chasing the tail that you're never going to catch. But I was thinking about that. We have a 50% divorce rate. Who suffers? The whole country suffers for this. The family is the nucleus of the government. You think there's a lot of corruption in the government nowadays? How much corruption is there in our families? As I was pondering these things, and I've pondered them quite a bit because I've been divorced more than once, and the divorce courts are brutal for men. And the women, it's kind of a bad deal because when I was growing up, a man could just slap the hell out of his woman and beat her around and nobody would do anything. Now, of course, I'm not for that. But it's went so far back the other way that now a woman can slap the hell out of her man or beat him up or whatever. And if the police come, somebody's going to jail, and it's almost 99% of the time the man, even if he hasn't done anything. And everything is called abuse nowadays. So if you tell your wife that that she did something stupid, well, that was a stupid thing you did, they can take that up and get an ex parte against you and put you out of the house for verbal abuse. And there's really nothing you can do about it. They give you about 5 or 10 minutes to get out of your house, and that's it. I've had 3 ex partes against me. False ones. The ex-wife just got pissed when I was with her and went up there and made a statement. One time she went up there and did it, and then come to the house right afterwards and laughed at me. These are the kinds of things women can do. That was many years ago, 25 years ago probably. Hopefully things are better now. I do see where sometimes the women are taken to jail for hitting the husband. I had a friend over here, an acquaintance. I painted her house many years ago. I'm friends with the man and the wife. They've been married many years, raised kids, good kids in college. She got all pissed off one time, called the police on him, threw him in jail, didn't even do anything. Goes to, because she's having some psychological problem, or she was upset emotionally. She struggled with her weight and different things. I like her. She's a good person, but she threw her husband in jail. This guy's a good, steady, dependable guy. He's like Mr. Straight Square, right? And then she goes down the next day and tries to get him out. Well, the state's already picked up the charges on him. She said he hit her or something, which wasn't true. So there you go. She was emotional, made a mistake. I know another woman threw her boyfriend in jail. She had 2 kids by. She's down to the next day trying to get him out because she got pissed off at him. It's just as easy as them going up there and saying something and crying a little bit, and then the judge will give them an order. So this is the kind of power women have, and they really can't handle it. Not all women, of course. I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about some women. It may not even be most of them, but there are a lot of them that do this. They act on their emotions, and this is why women are not on the front lines in a war, because they're too emotional. They're not able to suppress those emotions to think logically and do what needs to be done in the moment. So when they're in a situation, a battle situation in the family, now what I'm talking about is a disagreement that gets really strong between the husband and the wife, and she gets emotional and she wants to control the situation. She has an option. She can call the police. And because she's emotional, he may have said some things to her that she took a different way. I know if you guys think about this, and you need to try this. Say something to your woman, and then ask her what she just heard you say. Many times, more often than not, she will repeat something back to you that you didn't say, especially in an emotional situation. She believes that's what she heard you say, but women have a tendency to read between the lines. They don't really hear the words you say. They take the impression that they're getting from you, and that's what they heard, if that makes sense to you. So now through the court systems and in the marriages, they have this power which they can't wield very well when they get really emotional. Does this mean I think they're less than or stupid? No, I'm not saying that at all. They're just different. Who best to raise kids? How many men do you see working in a daycare? It's rare. I'm sure it's probably becoming more and more nowadays because men seem to be becoming feminized. But it's not the status quo. And how many women do you see on the front lines of the battlefield? Few. Very few. It's rare. Because, and women complain about this, men need to be more vulnerable. They need to open up. They need to be able to express their emotions. I don't agree with that. This is a character trait of men, and with women, their character trait is to take this highly emotional ability they have, and they can intuit things that you and I can't see. They're very in touch with the underlying intention of conversations. They can sense things that men can't sense. So thus, a woman on a battlefield is almost destroyed emotionally by the intense emotions that are there, is where a man can operate much better there because he has the ability to suppress those emotions and act logically. At least if you're a man, you should be able to do that. I've been in dangerous situations where I had to take physical action against another person, where I could have been killed, and I was able to do that. I didn't feel any emotion. But after it was over and I was safe, I was afraid. I felt the fear. And that's what a man can do, where a woman, not all women, but I'd say the biggest majority of them, cannot do that. You see a woman in an emotional, stressful situation, she is pretty emotional. She has a hard time taking logical action. Even men, even myself sometimes, when they called me the other day and told me what the price on fixing my van was going to be, when it was just supposed to be a little hour-and-a-half job and they broke a bolt in the engine block, I was pretty emotional. I didn't act on that emotion. I told them I would call them back after I decided what I was going to do. I was actually pissed off, and I wanted to say, hey, you guys broke the bolt. Well, I don't know if I wanted to say that or not, but I was thinking about all that stuff. I realized that my emotions were running high, so I was able to just get off the phone, call them back later. And I still haven't made a decision. Well, I've made a decision. I just haven't told them yet. I'm going to have it towed to my house. A friend of mine and I is going to fix it. Or my friend's going to fix it. I was going to try it, but I'm going to let him do it. But the point is, men are better able to suppress that. And women complain about this. They complain about how men won't share their emotions, they won't do this. And that's just how we are. We choose to be that way, but yet we have the characteristic and the ability to do that. And it comes in handy when you're in a dangerous situation and you have to protect your family. As I said, I have done that before. I've been in several situations in my life that were extremely dangerous where I could have gotten killed in a confrontational situation where in the moment, when I was in the confrontation, I had no fear. It was like I was acting on autopilot. But once I got away, was out of the danger, it's like the fear just washed over me like a flood. Now, of course, I didn't do anything irrational, but I could feel the fear then. But I won't even say I was able to suppress it. It's almost like it happens automatically. I don't know how to explain it. With me, that's how it works. Now, when I boxed, when I used to fight, I was extremely afraid, nervous, scared, whatever you want to call it, before I fought. But I was able to suppress that and get in the ring. And then once I got punched a couple times, there's no more fear. I'd be sitting on the stool during the rounds watching the ring girl go by talking to the coach about how good she looked. So that's just how men are. This is a characteristic of men. And so when we're talking about equality and equal rights, men and women are not equal. Equal means the same. Let me see, I wanted to look it up here. I was going to go on to the divorce rate of the Amish, but I've gotten off on a rabbit trail here. The divorce rate of the Amish is 0. Think about that. Let me see if I can find this here. Well, I seem to have lost it. But anyway, the whole point of this video is that women and men are different. I'm not saying, and I don't believe women are less than men are better than women. We're just different. And I believe all women should have equal opportunity to do any job a man does, if she should like to try it. But if she can't do the job, she can't perform as well as a man, then she shouldn't get paid the same. Nor should a man be able to go into a daycare, and if he can't care for them babies and doesn't know how to do that, he should not get paid as well as a woman who can pick up a child and rock it a little bit and it just stops crying, almost magically. That's just the way it is. We're different. We're not the same. We all have different characteristics and abilities. It can handle things differently and better. So we need to work together, and we need to maybe not admire, but accept each other's differences and realize that as a man and a woman working together, we're much stronger than either one of us are apart. And stop this dissension between men and women and accept our qualities and accept ourselves, what we are good at and what we're not good at. And realize that a lot of things that me as a man that I'm not good at, a woman can enhance that if we work together. So that's something for you guys to think about today. I kind of got off on a little rabbit trail from when I started on. I was going to talk about the divorce and the Amish. The 0% divorce rate, the Amish. Isn't that amazing? But I will say something about it. Because they have some support. They get this support from the women. The men are out doing men things with men. The women are out doing women things with women. And what it says is one of the reasons the women claim that they get divorced here in the U.S. is no support. They don't have support. They don't have that support from the women that like the Amish community gets. And the men, the young men, grow up as men because they're with the older men. They're all working together. And I'm fortunate enough that I have a company that my sons have been working with me. So we fellowship together as men. We talk about men things, which women is a subject, of course, as you know. And we discuss those things. We deal with fear and all these different aspects of life that a man has to deal with. So this helps them to become young, masculine men. My son Claude fought last night. He got robbed of a decision. He's okay. He felt good. He fought hard. He knows he won, even though the judges gave it to the other guy. I'm proud of him. Proud of him because he got up in that ring and he faced his opponent. And also proud of him that he's not pissing and moaning and crying because he's all emotional because he lost. He accepts the fact of the judge's decision. He doesn't want to quit. He doesn't want to give up. I mean, I didn't have that bad luck when I was fighting, so I don't know how I would have handled that. But I'm proud of him the way he handles it. But he's been raised up to see me go through defeats, discouragement, failures, and I get up off my butt and I keep going and I keep pressing on. And with God's help, I've been able to do that. Without God, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Because when everything goes to hell and I don't know what the hell to do, and I've tried everything, I just believe that God is doing this for me. And somehow or another, it turns out to be for my good. Even though I can't see it in the middle of the crap, in the middle of the crap pool. I'm trying to quit cussing, so. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I could go on forever about this stuff. I'm glad you guys are joining me. I hope you can take something from what I've talked about today and use it to enhance your life, because that's the reason I'm here, is to inspire, enlighten, and build up humanity, which is you guys. I just share my experience. This is what happened to me. If it works, use it. If it doesn't, discard it. Take what you need, leave the rest. Take care, have a great day, and we will see you soon.